Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. I'm your teacher Naveed Anjum Naveed with my grammar lessons. Today I brought part 2 of verb for you. In the first part of our lesson on verb, we mostly talked about main verbs. In this part of the lesson, we'll be learning auxiliaries. Auxiliaries have got 3 subtypes: principal auxiliaries, modal auxiliaries, and semi-modal auxiliaries. Please note the spelling of modal. It's M-O-D-A-L, not M-O-D-E-L. You can see I've highlighted some of the auxiliaries using different colors, and it's been done on purpose. I'll explain that point later. The first thing that we should learn about all these auxiliaries given in the whole table, highlighted or not highlighted. The first thing that we must learn about them is that they are primarily used as helping verbs. There is one condition, that they must be followed by an other verb. For an auxiliary to function as a helping verb, it's necessary that there is an other verb coming after it. And that other verb is not always a main verb. An auxiliary can be followed by another auxiliary. The type of the verb does not make a difference. Whenever any of these auxiliaries is followed by another verb, we call it a helping verb. But when any of these auxiliaries is used in such a way that it's not followed by an other verb, then there are 2 possibilities. If it's a form of verb be, and forms of verb be are written in red font, they are highlighted with yellow color. If any form of verb be is used in such a way that it's not followed by another verb, we call it linking verb. Mind it, this concept of linking verb is limited to forms of verb be only. If any other auxiliary other than forms of verb be is used in such a way that it's not followed by an other verb, it is the main verb itself. We shall not call it a linking verb. Another important point that I would like to highlight over here is that the verbs that follow helping verbs are not always placed right next to them. In interrogative sentences, the natural sequence of words is that helping verb is placed in the start, then there is the subject of the sentence, and then comes the main verb. So, the word that's right next to your helping verb is the subject of the sentence in interrogative sentences. Similarly, in negative sentences, the adverb of negation, that's not, is placed between helping verb and main verb. You'll also find some adverbs of frequency, like always, never, sometimes, seldom. Adverbs of frequency are also often placed between helping verbs and main verbs. So, helping verbs must be followed by other verbs, but it's not necessary that those other verbs are placed or written right next to them. Now, we'll come to the auxiliaries highlighted with green color. You can see that they all share one common thing. They are all followed by 2. They are special cases. Remember that as a general rule, 2 plus first form of the verb, it's called infinitive, and this combination does not function as a verb in English language. But whenever any one of these auxiliaries used to have a set to, going to, or to, whenever any one of these auxiliaries is used, 2 plus first form of the verb, they come together, and yet the verb is believed to be a verb. It's treated as a verb. It's because 2 is considered a part of the auxiliary. It's bracketed with the previous auxiliary. It's not made a part of the main verb. So, these special cases where 2 is a part of the auxiliary, only when these are used, first form of the verb will be placed right in front of 2. There will be a combination of 2 plus first form of the verb, and yet we'll treat it as a verb. Other than these special cases, wherever there is 2 plus first form of the verb, it's not considered a verb. We call it infinitive and it's a non-verb. Let's have a brief review of uses of auxiliaries. Forms of verb be are used as helping verbs when they are followed by other verbs, and when they are not followed by other verbs, we call them linking verbs. All other auxiliaries other than forms of verb be can be used as helping verbs when they are followed by other verbs, and when they are not followed by other verbs, we call them main verbs. Let's also take a second look at to plus present form of the verb. Present form of the verb and the first form of the verb is the same thing. We have already said this thing. The to plus present form of the verb does not function as a verb. We call it infinitive. Let's take a look at the examples. She wants to buy a car. The subject of this sentence is she. And what's the verb? It's not buy. She didn't buy anything. We are not saying that she bought or she buys. What does she do in this sentence? She wants. Wants is the verb. What does she want? We are making a what question using the verb. What does she want? To buy. To buy is functioning as the object of verb wants, and as such it's playing the role of a noun. Functioning as the object of a verb is one of the basic roles of nouns. We have learned this concept in an earlier lesson. So to buy is an infinitive, and infinitives don't function as verbs in sentences, and in this sentence this infinitive functions as the object of a verb and it plays the role of a noun. Let's have another example. It's a very similar example. We decided to start the journey. What did we do? We didn't start. We is the subject. What's the verb? The verb is decided. What did we do? We decided. We decided what? To start. To start, once again, is playing the role of a noun. It's functioning as the object of a verb. It's not a verb in this sentence. It's infinitive. So we can conclude that to plus first form of the verb is called infinitive and it does not function as a verb in a sentence. But there are 4 exceptional cases where to is a part of the auxiliary. We have learnt these 4 exceptional cases in our table of auxiliaries. They are have, has, had to, going to, ought to, used to. Whenever any one of these special auxiliaries is used in a sentence, you'll find to plus present form of the verb together, and yet the verb will be treated as a verb. We must keep these points in our mind. We must learn them well and keep these points in our mind when we are classifying auxiliaries in sentences. To put it in a nutshell, whenever you are required to classify an auxiliary, these are the questions that you must ask yourself. Number 1, is it a form of verb be or another auxiliary? Remember the forms of verb be. Be is, am, are, was, were, been, and being. Learn them by heart. If it's a form of verb be, then there are 2 possibilities. It's either a helping verb or a linking verb. If it's followed by another verb, it's helping verb. If it's not followed by another verb, it's linking verb. But if the auxiliary that you're trying to classify is not a form of verb be, then again there are 2 possibilities. It's either a helping verb or the main verb itself. If it's followed by another verb, it's helping verb. And if it's not followed by another verb, it's the main verb itself. You should also be very, very careful where there is a combination of to plus present form of the verb, because as a general rule, to plus present form of the verb is called infinitive and it does not function as verbs in sentences. But there are 4 exceptions to this rule. There are 4 special auxiliaries where to is a part of the auxiliary. They are, learn them by heart also, they are have, has, had to, going to, ought to, and used to. Whenever any one of these auxiliaries is used as a helping verb, you'll find to plus present form of the verb together, and yet the verb will be considered a verb. Other than these 4 exceptional cases, to plus present form of the verb is not a verb. We call it infinitive and it may have any other role or function. let's have a demonstration of all the concepts that we have learned so far through examples. The auxiliaries in all these examples are in blue font and we are to classify them. The first example, he was playing an interesting game. Let's begin by asking ourselves those questions. Is it a form of verb be? Yes. Then there are two possibilities only. It's either helping verb or linking verb. So let's ask ourselves the next question. Is it followed by another verb? Yes. Playing is a verb. So that makes it helping verb. He is the subject, was helping verb, playing main verb. The next example, he was very upset. He is the subject, was verb. It's a form of verb be. So again, there are two possibilities, either helping verb or linking verb. Let's ask ourselves the next question. Is it followed by another verb? No, there is no other verb after was. So that makes it linking verb, and we call it linking verb because it links subjective complement with the subject of the sentence. He does not like chocolate. Does is not a form of verb be, so it's either helping verb or main verb itself. Is it followed by another verb in this sentence? Yes, like is a verb, so that makes it helping verb. Take a look at the next example. He does his homework on time. He is the subject. Does your verb. It could be either helping verb or main verb depending upon whether it's followed by an other verb or not. So let's try to find out an other verb after this, which is not there. He does his homework. He is the subject. Does is the main verb because it's not followed by an other verb in this sentence. And if we ask, he does what does he do? And the answer is homework. So it's a transitive verb also. Main verb, transitive verb. Homework is the object of does in this sentence. Have they returned my car? Now this is an interrogative sentence, a question. And the order of words in interrogative sentences is different. It's helping verb, subject and main verb. The subject of the sentence is they. The next word, returned, is a verb. So we can say that have is followed by an other verb in this sentence. That's why we'll call it helping verb. The next sentence, she has gone back. She subject has verb and gone is also a verb. Go, went and gone. So has is followed by an other verb and that makes it helping verb. They have a new car. They, your subject, have verb. Is it followed by another verb? No, there is no verb after have in this sentence and that makes it the main verb of the sentence itself. She has done her job. She is the subject, has auxiliary. Let's ask ourselves the basic questions. Is it followed by another verb? Yes, done. So that makes has a helping verb. The next example, he has to perform difficult tasks. Has is the auxiliary that we are to classify. To perform, it's to plus first form of the verb. And we know that as a general rule, to plus first form of the verb is infinitive and it does not function as a verb in a sentence. And if to perform is not a verb, then has must be the main verb. But this argumentation is wrong because this argument has got a second step also. There are 4 exceptions to this rule. There are 4 auxiliaries where to is a part of the auxiliary and has to is one of those exceptional cases. Remember them. Have, has, had to, going to, ought to and used to. So otherwise, to plus first form of the verb is an infinitive and not considered a verb. But whenever one of these 4 special auxiliaries is used in a sentence, then to is believed to be a part of the helping verb. So the correct analysis of this sentence is he is your subject, has to helping verb, perform main verb and tasks the object of main verb perform. He dared not come near me. Dared is auxiliary and it is followed by an other verb, come. That's why it's helping verb in this sentence. How dare you call me stupid? This is an interrogative sentence. Dare is your auxiliary. You is the subject of the sentence. Call is an other verb. It's the main verb. That's why dare is helping verb. He did not dare to tell his father what he had done at school. He is the subject. Did is helping verb because it's followed by an other verb, and that other verb is there. What's there? Is there followed by another verb? To tell. But we know that to plus first form of the verb is infinitive, and we do not consider it a verb in a sentence. And over here, none of the four exceptional cases, the special auxiliaries, has been used. So to tell will not be considered a verb, and that makes there the main verb of the sentence. To tell is infinitive, it's not a verb, and if it's not a verb, then there is the main verb. They need not come back for the meeting. Need is the auxiliary, and it's followed by an other verb, come, so that makes it helping verb. They need some guidance. The subject, need is auxiliary, but over here it's not followed by another verb, so that makes it the main verb of the sentence. My needs are greater than my income. Now, those of you who are thinking that needs is the helping verb here are wrong. And those who are thinking that it's the main verb are also wrong, because it's not a verb at all. Use some common sense and look at the sentence carefully. It's the plural of need. Just like my books, my socks, my clothes, my needs. Look, it's been used with the possessive case of a pronoun. And pronouns in possessive case indicate the possession of nouns. It's possible for words to function as different parts of speech in different contexts. So you'll have to be on the alert. We have learned these concepts in our earlier lessons. It's always a good idea to revisit those lessons. Over here in this sentence, needs is the subject of the sentence, are your linking verb. It's not a verb at all. Look at the next example. They need to wait for the right time. They, subject, need is the verb, and it's not followed by an other verb. To wait is infinitive, and infinitives are not considered verbs in sentences, and none of the four exceptional special auxiliaries where to is a part of the auxiliary is present in this sentence. So there is no verb after need, and need is the main verb of the sentence. There is another very, very important and a useful tip, and that tip is based on Urdu translation of this word need or needs. Whenever it translates as zarurat, it's noun. And whenever it translates as zarurat hona ya zarurat padna, it's verb. Very much like love. Whenever love translates as muhabbat, it's noun. And whenever it translates as muhabbat karna, it's verb. They used low-grade oil in this food. They is the subject, and used has to be classified. Let's see if it's followed by an other verb in the sentence. There is no other verb after used, so that makes it the main verb of the sentence. They used to cook chicken every Monday. They is the subject, used has to be classified. There is to cook after this. Generally, to plus first form of the verb is infinitive, and it does not function as a verb in a sentence, but used to is one of those four exceptional cases where to is a part of the auxiliary. So the correct analysis of this sentence is they is the subject, used to helping verb, and cook is main verb. The next sentence, did he used to write short stories? This is an interrogative sentence, so the helping verb has been placed before the subject of the sentence. Did is helping verb, he is the subject, use. Before declaring it the main verb of the sentence, let's look further. To write, there is another verb coming after this. This example is similar to the example number 2, used to plus write. So used to is also helping verb. Write is the main verb in this sentence. It's possible to use 2 or even 3 helping verbs in the same verb phrase. There is a useful tip based on Urdu translation to deal with this verb use also. Whenever it translates as Urdu wala istemal karna, it's main verb, and whenever it does not translate like this and simply indicates a past routine or habit, we call it helping verb, and in all such cases it will be coupled with to. So let's translate these sentences. They used low grade oil in this food. उन्होंने इस खाने में घटिया मयार का तेल इस्तेमाल किया. Used translates as इस्तेमाल किया, so it's main verb. They used to cook chicken every Monday. वो हर सोमवार को मुर्गी पकाया करते थे. Used does not translate as इस्तेमाल करना in Urdu. That also proves it to be a helping verb. Did he used to write short stories? क्या वो अफसाने लिखा करता था? Use once again does not translate as Urdu wala istemal karna. So that proves it to be a helping verb. And now it's activity time. It's your turn. You have to classify the underlined words in these 5 MCQs. Read the sentences carefully because your classification of verbs depends upon the context and the usage to a very great extent. Pause the video here, attempt all the MCQs, make your choices before you take a look at the answer key that will be following shortly. And here is the answer key. I hope all your answers are correct. Goodbye and best of luck.